Florida has over 1,300 miles of coastline, yet most people still think living here requires a trust fund, a wealthy spouse, or at least a side hustle selling seashells on Etsy. The thing is, some of the cheapest cities to live in Florida don't just exist, people are quietly thriving in them. And no, we're not talking about camping in your cousin's garage or moving into a retirement RV park before your time. Welcome to Cheapest Cities to Live in Florida, hidden affordable gems you never considered, brought to you by Across the United States. This video is for anyone tired of scrolling past $3,000 studios, outrageous HOA fees, and rent prices that look like monthly mortgage payments on Mars. Whether you're a retiree trying to stretch that pension, a young professional trying not to age from stress, a family running from skyrocketing rent, or someone who just wants palm trees without the financial trauma, this list is your map. Florida's reputation screams expensive coastal fantasy, but the numbers tell a different story. While the national average rent hovers around $1,900, there are pockets in the Sunshine State where you can still find affordable housing, cheap apartments, low cost of living, and rent that doesn't require a cosigner and a prayer. And no, we're not sending you to the middle of nowhere to live next to 3 cows in a swamp. You've probably never even considered the cities that made this list. Some of them have beaches, some have thriving job markets. Others are perfect for retirees or remote workers trying to escape overpriced urban chaos without giving up decent Wi-Fi and takeout options. Stay locked in. You're going to question everything you thought you knew about affordable living in Florida. Before we get into it, hit that like and subscribe button real quick and be a part of our family. Done? Let's go. Number 10. Ocala. If you've been stress scrolling Zillow like it's a part-time job, Ocala might just slap that anxiety right out of you. While other Florida cities are out here demanding $3,000 a month for a cozy one-bedroom the size of a shoebox, Ocala is chilling with rents that still make sense. You can snag a decent apartment for around $1,200, and if you're thinking of buying, the average home price is sitting around $280,000. Not cheap, but definitely not sell your soul to the bank expensive. Now, let's talk cost of living. Ocala sits about 10% below the national average, and unlike the bigger cities, you won't need to make 6 figures just to afford date night and detergent. Groceries, utilities, transportation, it's all manageable without turning your budget into a crime scene. Even gas prices won't make you question your life choices. And yes, Ocala is known for horses. Not a few horses on farms kind of known. We're talking horse capital of the world status. There are more horse farms than some people have houseplants. If you've never been stuck behind a horse trailer in traffic, this might be your next life experience. But hey, better slow-moving horses than bumper-to-bumper chaos on I-95, right? The town itself isn't flashy, but it's not boring either. Downtown Ocala has its charm. Restaurants, weekend markets, coffee spots where retirees sip lattes like they invented time, and occasional festivals that remind you people under 60 do live there. Plus, you're only about an hour from Orlando and 90 minutes from Tampa, which means you can go get your theme park fix or city vibe without paying rent in either. Families love the space, retirees love the peace, and young adults love that their paycheck doesn't dissolve on payday. Properties often come with actual yards. Yes, grass you don't share with 6 neighbors and their dogs. And unlike South Florida, parking here isn't a blood sport. Healthcare, covered. Hospitals and medical centers are growing fast thanks to the retiree migration. Jobs, not the best place if you're chasing tech startups or investment firms, but if you're in healthcare, education, logistics, or hospitality, you'll do just fine. Tell me, would you trade overpriced city living for horse country, affordable housing, and weekends without traffic-induced rage? Or are you clinging to that Miami condo dream with $3,000 rent and neighbors you never see? Number 9. Lakeland. Some cities in Florida act like living there is a luxury subscription you didn't sign up for. Lakeland, on the other hand, is more like that affordable Hulu plan with no ads. Surprisingly good, easy to manage, and you don't feel robbed every month. Rents in Lakeland hover around $1,300 for a one-bedroom, which by Florida standards is practically a clearance sale. Thinking of buying? The median home price floats around $310K, which is still thousands less than Tampa, Orlando, or any coastal city pretending it's made of gold. The overall cost of living here sits comfortably below the national average, especially when it comes to housing and utilities. Now here's where Lakeland wins big. It's literally sitting between Orlando and Tampa, like a bargain-priced mediator between two overhyped siblings. You get access to major job markets, airports, theme parks, and big city entertainment without actually living inside the madness or paying the rent that comes with it. You want a weekend at Universal or a concert in Tampa? Hop in the car. Want to come home to peace and bills that don't induce heart failure? Lakeland says, welcome. And the name isn't clickbait. There are actual lakes everywhere. Not one, not 10. There are 38 named lakes in the area. You'll probably live near water, whether you try or not. There are swans, walking trails, fishermen who take it a little too seriously, and retirees power walking with the confidence of Navy commanders. The vibes? A mix of chill suburbia, quiet neighborhoods, and enough city life to feel normal. There's Florida Southern College, a growing food scene, parks for kids and dogs, and a downtown that's actually alive. You won't mistake it for Miami, but you also won't feel like you're stuck in retirement purgatory. Speaking of retirees, they love it here. But so do young professionals and families trying not to drown financially. Polk County has seen a population boom because people figured out it's cheaper to live here and drive to work elsewhere than to actually live in those expensive cities swallowing paychecks for sport. Job-wise, the area has opportunities in healthcare, education, logistics, aviation, retail, and distribution hubs. Amazon and Publix both have a strong presence. Plus, taxes won't drag you into despair. No state income tax. Thank you very much. Now let's address the honest downside. If you're looking for nightlife that goes past 10 p.m., you're gonna have to drive. This is more sangria on your porch energy than bottle service and DJs. But really, would you rather pay $3,000 to live in Tampa just to say you do? Or live 40 minutes away with lower rent, less traffic, and actual savings in your account? Number 8. Palm Bay. You know a city is underrated when people think it's a beach towel brand or a retirement resort. Palm Bay doesn't show off, but your wallet will feel the difference before you even unpack a box. Let's start with the numbers, because rent doesn't lie. You can still find apartments in Palm Bay starting around $1,200 to $350, and the median home price sits around $325,000, which sounds dreamy compared to the coastal cities charging double just because they can see the ocean from the highway. The overall cost of living is below the national average, especially in housing, groceries, and utilities. Translation? You can live here without working 3 jobs or side hustling as a late-night crypto prophet. Now for the geography flex. Palm Bay sits on Florida's Space Coast, which means your neighbors could literally be rocket engineers. You're close to Melbourne, Cape Canaveral, and Cocoa Beach, and only about an hour from Orlando. Far enough to avoid the theme park chaos, but close enough to visit when you feel like overspending on butterbeer. And no, you don't have to be a retiree or a NASA intern to survive here. The job market is growing fast, especially in tech, aerospace, manufacturing, healthcare, and defense industries. Companies like L3 Harris, Northrop Grumman, and Health First actually hire real humans. Even remote workers love it here. You get Florida weather without Florida rent. Let's talk lifestyle. Palm Bay gives you beaches without beachfront pricing, quiet neighborhoods without total boredom, and nature spots that don't feel like tourist traps. There's Turkey Creek Sanctuary if you like trails and manatees, local parks where kids can run wild without HOA drama, and fishing spots where retirees battle it out like it's a sport on ESPN9. And yes, families love it. Retirees love it. Young couples trying not to burn through savings, they love it too. The mix of affordability and space makes it ideal for anyone who wants livable Florida, not Instagram Florida. Nightlife here isn't lighting up TikTok. If your soul needs rooftop lounges, celebrity DJs, and overpriced cocktails, move along. But if you want beach access, peace, and bills that don't bully you, Palm Bay gets the job done. So be honest. Would you rather live somewhere famous and broke, or somewhere affordable with a beach 20 minutes away and rockets launching in the background? Number 7. Pensacola. Some people think Florida ends at Orlando, and everything above it is just Georgia with palm trees. Then you get to Pensacola, where the rent is shockingly reasonable. The beaches look like vacation brochures, and somehow you're still in Florida without paying Florida prices. Start with the numbers. Average rent in Pensacola sits around $1,250 to $1,400, and you can still find two-bedroom apartments that don't require proof of royal lineage. If buying is on your vision board, the median home price is around $299,000, which is outrageously affordable compared to coastal cities farther south. The cost of living is roughly 12% lower than the national average, and eating out here won't make you question your future. Now, here's the twist. Pensacola has beaches that look like they were photoshopped. White sands, emerald water, dolphins doing backflips like they're auditioning for Disney, and you're still paying less than people in cities with brown water and overcrowded shorelines. If you've ever wanted beach town living without beachfront arrogance, this is your shot. And no, it's not just retirees with sun visors and golf carts. Pensacola has a big military presence thanks to Naval Air Station Pensacola, which brings in young professionals, families, and people who know how to stretch a paycheck. The job market is solid in healthcare, education, military, tourism, and service industries, and remote workers love that you can pay rent without starting a GoFundMe. The vibes? A mix of southern charm, Gulf Coast chill, and weirdly good food. There's a historic downtown with coffee shops, seafood spots that ruin you for Red Lobster forever, breweries, live music, and festivals where flip-flops are practically the dress code. Families like the parks, schools, and low crime in certain neighborhoods. Retirees love the quiet pace and coastal access. Young adults like that. They can afford brunch and still pay electric bills on time. And unlike Miami, you can drive somewhere without needing a support group. Now, let's be honest about the trade-off. If you need nightlife that lasts past 11 p.m., or you break out in hives without skyscrapers, Pensacola might feel slow. But if you want affordability, beaches, culture, and actual space to breathe, this place delivers. So would you rather live inland, paying $2,500 for a box apartment, or wake up near the coast for half the price and a better view? Number 6. Gainesville. Some cities flex with skyscrapers, cruise ports, and overpriced brunch. Gainesville just quietly sits there with low rent, decent jobs, and a cost of living that doesn't make you question your existence, and somehow still gets overlooked. Let's start with what matters, the bills. Average rent in Gainesville lands around $1,300, and if you're sharing a place or not picky about modern cabinets, you can do even better. Thinking about buying? The median home price is roughly $290,000, which is practically a Florida discount bundle compared to cities like Orlando, Tampa, or Miami, where your budget gets laughed at. The cost of living here is about 9% below the national average, with housing being the biggest win. Utilities, groceries, and transportation are also manageable, and, bonus, you won't need 3 roommates and a side hustle just to survive. Now, personality-wise, Gainesville is not your stereotypical Florida beach town. It's a college city, home to the University of Florida, which means there's energy, jobs, and enough students to keep local coffee shops in business until the end of time. The student presence also means there's always someone renting, moving, or subletting. Translation: housing turnover works in your favor. But don't think this town is just textbooks and tailgates. The area has plenty of jobs in education, healthcare, tech, research, and public services. Remote workers love the affordability, and retirees appreciate that they don't have to pay beachfront taxes to get Florida sunshine. And speaking of outdoors, Gainesville is surrounded by nature that Instagram influencers pretend they discovered. There are natural springs, hiking trails, rivers, parks, and wildlife preserves that don't charge you to exist. You can go from kayaking with turtles to grabbing tacos downtown in the same afternoon. Nightlife? Not Miami, but definitely not dead. Thanks to the college crowd, you'll find breweries, live music, food trucks, bars, coffee spots, and enough social life to stay entertained without needing a celebrity DJ to feel alive. Now, full honesty, if you need beaches in your backyard, you'll have to drive 1.5 to 2 hours to get there. But think about it. Would you rather pay beachfront rent you can't afford, or drive to the ocean and still have money for lunch after? Gainesville works for students trying not to drown in debt, young professionals who want independence without living in a closet, families who want safety and space, and retirees who are done with coastal chaos. The question is, would you rather brag about your zip code or actually afford your life?
If you're still with us, thank you for sticking around. Now's the perfect time to quickly like and subscribe if you haven't. Trust me, the top 5 will surprise you.
Number 5. Kissimmee. If you think living near Orlando means selling a kidney to afford rent, Kissimmee is here to politely prove you wrong. It's close enough to the theme parks to hear fireworks at night, but not close enough for Mickey Mouse to start charging you property tax. Let's talk affordability first, because that's why we're here. The average rent in Kissimmee ranges from $1,300 to $1,500, depending on your neighborhood and your tolerance for carpet from the 90s. The median home price sits around $350,000, which, while not dirt cheap, is still significantly lower than Orlando's "you must be joking" housing costs. Plus, the overall cost of living is lower than most major Florida metros, especially when it comes to housing and utilities. What really makes Kissimmee interesting is the location flex combo. You're right outside Orlando without drowning in Orlando rent, theme park traffic, or HOA rules designed by dictators in sandals. Whether you're a family, a young professional, a remote worker, or even a retiree who still loves fireworks, but not $4,000 rent, Kissimmee slides into your budget pretty smoothly. Job opportunities? You're surrounded by a massive service and tourism economy thanks to Disney World, Universal Studios, hotels, resorts, logistics centers, airports, and healthcare systems. Even if you don't want to work in the Magic Kingdom, there are plenty of opportunities in education, transportation, retail, and tech. And Orlando's job market is yours without you paying Orlando rates. And let's talk lifestyle. Kissimmee has lakes, parks, outlet shopping that empties wallets on purpose, multicultural neighborhoods, and restaurants that don't charge $45 for mashed potatoes. There's Old Town for car shows, downtown spots with food and music, and enough variety to keep things interesting without needing bottle service or rooftop clubs. Families love the school options and space. Retirees like the mild chaos and reasonably quiet suburbs. Young adults appreciate that they don't have to live with 6 roommates and a futon. And if you're into Airbnb investing or short-term rentals, this is basically your playground. Now, is everything perfect? Of course not. Traffic can act up, tourists appear in odd places, and if you go near the parks on a Saturday, that's a personal decision between you and your blood pressure. But for the price, it's solid. Would you rather pay double to live 15 minutes closer to Cinderella's castle, or keep your savings and still see fireworks from your backyard? Number 4. Jacksonville. People love to forget Jacksonville exists until they see the rent prices and suddenly start Googling movers. It's the largest city in Florida by land area, but somehow one of the cheapest places to actually live. Funny how that works. Let's get into the numbers before feelings get involved. The average rent for a one-bedroom sits around $250 to $450. And if you're sharing or not obsessed with stainless steel everything, you can go even lower. The median home price is about $300,000, which is wild, considering this is a coastal metro with actual infrastructure, jobs, and beaches. The cost of living sits around 8 to 10 below the national average, especially when it comes to housing and transportation. And because it's massive, you're not boxed into one type of lifestyle. There are quiet suburbs, urban pockets, artsy areas, waterfront neighborhoods, and military communities all woven into one sprawling map. Speaking of military, Jacksonville is home to multiple bases, so the economy stays active with solid jobs in defense, logistics, aviation, port operations, healthcare, finance, retail, and tech. Remote workers especially love it here. Your rent doesn't erase your savings the minute you get paid. And you want beaches? Jacksonville has 22 miles of shoreline, plus riverfront views and enough boat ramps to make you think you need a yacht. Jax Beach, Neptune Beach, and Atlantic Beach offer coastal life without Miami price tags or Sarasota retirement energy. You can actually park your car without a meltdown, and locals don't act like sand is exclusive property. Lifestyle-wise, the city has a little of everything. Breweries, Everywhere. Live music, constant. Football fans, loud. Food scene, diverse and way more affordable than South Florida. Parks and outdoor spots, there are over 80,000 acres of green space. So if you like trails, water sports, fishing, or pretending you'll start jogging, you're covered. Families appreciate the space and school options. Young professionals like the housing flexibility and growing job market. Retirees enjoy the lower cost of living without giving up sunshine and hospitals. And unlike Tampa and Orlando, traffic here only gets disrespectful occasionally. Now, yes, Jacksonville is spread out. If you're looking for a compact city where everything is 5 minutes away, good luck. But if you want options, affordability, and room to breathe, this place delivers. So would you rather cram into an expensive city for the bragging rights, or stretch out in a coastal one where you can still afford furniture? Number 3. Palm Coast. Some Florida cities scream for attention with overpriced condos and chaotic traffic. Palm Coast just minds its business, stays affordable, and quietly collects new residents who figured out they don't need debt to see the ocean. Let's start with the essentials. The median home price in Palm Coast is around $344,000, and rent is about $2,000, depending on the neighborhood and how fancy you want your appliances to look. It's not bargain basement cheap, but for a coastal town in Florida, that's practically a clearance event. The overall cost of living sits below the national average and way below the cost of life in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Naples, or Tampa. You can actually buy groceries and still afford gas. What a concept. Now, location-wise, Palm Coast is sitting in a sweet spot on the Atlantic side between St. Augustine and Daytona Beach. Translation: you're close enough to bigger cities to access jobs, entertainment, and healthcare, but far enough from the chaos to avoid paying for someone else's skyline. Palm Coast is a gold mine for people who want the water without the wallet pain. You've got beaches, marshes, biking trails, nature preserves, and kayak spots that look like computer screensavers. Fishing, boating, and sunrise walks are normal, not luxury activities reserved for people with yacht money. And let's talk population vibes. Retirees love it, families settle in comfortably, and remote workers are moving in faster than coastal developers can build overpriced condos. Crime is relatively low, the pace is laid back, and HOA rules aren't written by part-time tyrants. Job-wise, you're not landing a tech empire paycheck here, but there are opportunities in healthcare, construction, education, hospitality, logistics, and remote work. And for those who commute, Jacksonville, Daytona, and Orlando are all realistic drives, especially if you're saving hundreds a month by not living in any of them. Now, the lifestyle? Peaceful, airy, and scenic. You won't find clubs open until 3 a.m. and nobody's wearing 6-inch heels to the grocery store. Instead, expect morning walks, coastal cafes, farmers markets, golf carts, fishing gear, and neighbors who actually wave. The biggest complaint people have about Palm Coast? It's too quiet. Meanwhile, the people saying that are still sending rent checks the size of car payments in Tampa and Miami. So let me ask you this. Would you rather pay thousands just to stare at the ocean from someone else's balcony, or live near it without your wallet crying for help? Number 2, Cape Coral. If Florida cities were priced based on how many canals they have, Cape Coral would be charging Miami rent. Instead, it's over here serving waterfront views on an Aldi budget. Seriously, this place has over 400 miles of canals, making it one of the largest canal systems in the world, and yet you can still afford to live there without auctioning off your organs. Let's talk real numbers. The median rent is $1,900, depending on the area and how close you are to the water. And the median home price? Around $360,000. Which sounds high until you remember half the houses come with a dock, palm trees, and a view that would cost double anywhere else on the coast. Compared to Naples, Fort Myers Beach, or Miami, it's a bargain, and your bank account will agree. The overall cost of living is very reasonable for a city that looks like a vacation ad. Groceries, utilities, and transportation fall in line with national averages, and property taxes won't make you scream into a throw pillow. Plus, Florida still says you're welcome with no state income tax. Now, who moves to Cape Coral? Retirees? Absolutely. Families? Plenty. Remote workers and professionals tired of overpaying for average? They're coming in fast. And with Fort Myers right across the bridge, you get job access in a larger metro area without paying larger metro prices. Employment opportunities exist in healthcare, construction, education, hospitality, logistics, and business services. Plus, with the remote work crowd growing, people are trading their high-rent apartments in Miami or Tampa for quieter streets and bigger homes. And the lifestyle? Think palm trees, kayaks, backyard boats, dolphins in the canal, and neighbors who say, "Good morning," like they mean it. You've got beaches nearby, tons of parks, golf courses everywhere, and enough seafood restaurants to keep you in a permanent state of, "I'll start my diet next week." Is it loud and chaotic? Not even a little. Nightlife is more patio cocktails than rooftop DJs, and traffic rarely feels like a battle for survival, unless it's tourist season and you're near a bridge. But let's keep it real. Cape Coral isn't for people who need skyscrapers, dance clubs, and 4 a.m. takeout. It's for people who want waterfront living without waterfront suffering. So here's your moment of reflection. Would you rather pay $3,000 a month to hear your upstairs neighbor's blender at 6 a.m.? Or enjoy canal views with rent that still lets you travel, save, or breathe? At number 1, we have Winter Haven. Winter Haven sounds like the name of a retirement brochure, but don't be fooled. This city is one of Florida's most underrated money savers, and it doesn't care if you're 25, 45, or 75. If you've ever wanted to live near water without having to pawn your furniture or sell your future, this place is basically Florida on discount mode. Let's start with the numbers, because that's what really decides if you're moving or just daydreaming. The median rent sits around $1,500, and home prices hover between $280K and $300K, which is practically a miracle in a state where some cities are charging beachfront prices for homes with aluminum roofs and mystery plumbing. The overall cost of living is about 12% below the national average, so your wallet can finally take a nap instead of screaming every month. And no, you're not stuck in the middle of nowhere dodging tumbleweeds and waiting for Amazon deliveries on horseback. Winter Haven is strategically placed right between Orlando and Tampa, which means you can access big city perks without big city bills. You get theme parks, entertainment, airports, job opportunities, and shopping, all without living in traffic purgatory. For families, there are parks, lakes, schools, and neighborhoods where neighbors still wave instead of staring suspiciously over their Ring cameras. Retirees love the calm energy, affordable housing, and the fact that you don't need a yacht club membership to sit by the water. Young professionals and remote workers get decent internet, coffee shops, and real estate that doesn't require 3 co-signers and divine intervention. Now let's talk aesthetics, because nobody wants to live somewhere that looks like a parking lot with trees. Winter Haven has over 50 lakes, scenic neighborhoods, walking trails, and even boat-friendly living that doesn't cost the price of a Tesla. Legoland is there too. Perfect if you have kids, or just enjoy stepping on plastic bricks and questioning your life choices. Is it bougie? No. Is it Instagram famous? Also no. But will it let you live comfortably without selling your organs? Absolutely. So here's the real question. If you could get lake views, low rent, and access to 2 major cities without financial cardiac arrest, what's stopping you from putting Winter Haven on your radar? And that wraps up our list of Florida's most budget-friendly cities. Proof you don't need lottery money to live near sunshine, seafood, or sanity. Now tell me, which of these places surprised you the most? Are you leaning coastal, or is an inland budget break more your style? Did you find this helpful in any way? Support us by clicking on the like and subscribe button. Until next time, keep the rent low and the AC blasting.